going against the advice of a couple YouTube friends, I am not going to mount the flex line on the outside through the bumper. I'm going to remove that, and I'm going to, or I have drilled one hole, one of two holes there through the back door. The reason is largely because of this cover that I'm going to always leave on that protects the condenser compressor from the elements will now conceal this line going through the hole. When I have the refrigerant lines going through the hole, that's going to greatly shorten the length of the lines, and also get rid of this outside exposure of the lines to the elements, especially the stainless steel braided section. It's going to be much more reliable if it's plumbed inside the van, not outside like this. And those are 3 feet sections. So when I swing the door open, there will be a black panel on here, the decorative panel, so it's not going to be this ugly. And it's going to have 2 lines coming through here. And I'm going to have to cut these and put flares on with the flare nuts and connect the stainless steel braided lines coming through here. So part of the stainless steel is going to be on the outside of the van so that it will flex this way, so I don't have to flex the copper so much. And that will greatly simplify this install. I'm going to leave the flex lines going up through the driver's side of the bed over there, and alongside the side of the electronic control panel, breaker panel for shore power. So I need to cut these 2 about here, put flares on, and get ready for the stainless steel coming through here. I did drill 1 hole there, and I chose that location because it is at least 1 inch below this. I didn't want it above it, but rather below it. And I'm using this 1/2 inch coupler here, and I put these rubber seals on, and so on each side is going to have one of these to secure it for the copper line to come directly through this little hole, and then I will have insulation on both sides. In order to keep the size of this hole as small as possible, I'm going to have to cut the flare off I made on the stainless steel flex line, but I still have enough room there for even a couple more cuts in the future. So that's why they left several inches there rather than just about 1 inch, for reasons like that. This is how much I lost right there, cutting off the flare. So now I'm going to fit it through here, and somehow get the flare installed on the other side with this flare nut. Nope, I can't, so I have to rethink how I'm going to do this, because this is more rigid and shorter than I thought. I'm going to put a flare back on here with the nut and get the stock copper tubing coming through here, sticking out about a couple inches, and flare them together with a joint, and then connect it over there. The stock 3/8 line won't reach, and it's too short, so I'm going to have to take it off and create a new line with a flare nut on both ends with the surplus line that I cut out. Oh, this is messy. Worse than I thought, but I'll get it. Okay, so I got it sticking out here where I'm going to put a flare and nut there, and then I'll get it curved back I'll take the short line off, get this curved, and get the factory flare nut on here with the insulation on first. To flare, the flare tool, this part goes on first, and this sticks out 1 millimeter flush with the edge there, so that's a little tricky. And then this part slides over and locks in on one of the grooves on the side, and you tighten it with this. Good thing this slides, or I wouldn't be able to do it. This would be in the way. And then you tighten this until it pops, and then you back it back out and remove it all, and then you'll have the flare. See, there's my flare. This is the alternative to welding, brazing, soldering. This is pretty high skill, lots of steps. So I cut a hole through the decorative panel, and I slid this through with the flare and flare nut missing, so it would fit through the hole. Otherwise I have to drill even a bigger hole there. So I'll try to keep all my holes as small as possible. Now I had to add another flare here with nut to have a coupling in between the two to meet, and it will flex in here for the 3/8 line, and then I'll have to do the same thing for the 1/4 line. Yesterday I goofed up the flare end on the factory line, so I'm going to cut that flare off and use this coupling over here. Alright, I wasn't sure how this was going to come out. Really good. Okay, I got a flare nut there that the stainless steel one can connect to there, and 3 feet going across, eventually connect to there, and underneath have it coming out through there beautifully, not too sharp of any bend. And I'm going to have to cut it here, put a flare nut on there, and connect there. And I have to remember to insert insulation first before putting the permanent flare nut on here. Otherwise I can't slide the insulation on, and I would have to cut it down the center and then wrap tape around it to get it to stay. By the way, this 3/8 line is much more difficult to work with than the 1/4. So right now I'm working on the most difficult line out of the two, the thicker one, because it is more sensitive to kinking when you bend it. Okay, now I'm pissed off because I have to get all new, have to buy new 3/8 line, but at least I think Home Depot has it. What happened is there's a kink right here, and I didn't do it. I asked a neighbor who is a construction manager. He manages the building of new homes to push the line through there while I'm pulling on the bottom, and it kinked in here somewhere, and he kept on pushing hard, and he's supposed to know better that refrigerant copper line kinks and you can't push it hard, or else this will happen right there. That's a deadly kink. Can't have that. And so I have to build new line. I have to buy new 3/8 line. At least I know how to do it now for this section here, because I don't have a piece long enough. The longest pieces I have left of 3/8 are these bent up pieces of crap there. So I'm going to go ahead and just do a flare here anyway to the bad line and get it all connected, so I know that it's all going to fit right. And then I'll take a ride in tomorrow to get the right part, another 3/8 copper line. At least I don't have to buy expensive line set. I can just buy the cheaper copper line without the flares and flare nuts. Or maybe better yet, these only come in 3 feet. If I get another 3 feet, a 3 foot long piece, I can come through here into there is just 3 feet. That's a little tight, but it would work, and then that way I don't have to worry about kinks again if I'm having wild angry sex with a hot babe in my bed and I bump into that line and kink it. The 3/8 line is a disaster I don't like the 3/8 copper line. It sucks. It kinks easy. Man, working with this 3/8 is freaking hell. Because look how it's kind of, the flare is not seated correctly. It's bent. I can't, it's so difficult to work with. It's so damn thick. You can't really practically do anything with it, because everything you do, it can create a kink. It's just really, really difficult. So I have this 3/8 line 1 inch too long. I wanted it a little bit too long in case I need to redo it, but it's just too long. I can't work with it like this. So I'm gonna have to cut about 1 inch off and reseat it again, create another flare and do it again.